Hi, it's Diane. I'm always curious as to how people use the junk journals that they make and that they receive. I like to see I'm sorry, I'm moving my camera a little bit. I like to see how people use them. So I thought I would do a couple of videos showing how I use mine. As you can see, I have a lot of journals. Before I started making journals, I journaled. I bought bound journals, and I have a lot of journals from over the years, from when my kids were young, and now I have grandkids. So I have a lot of journals, but then I started making them and swapping for books that others made, and I still use them. I write in them, and I use them for other reasons too, besides just as a diary type of journal. So I'm going to show you some of the ways I use my books. I'm starting out with ones that I made with the Bind It All, or that were made for me. I'll start with those. This is one that Alette sent me. Alette from the Netherlands. She wanted to do a one-on-one swap with me. It was before I joined Junk Journal Junkies, so this was my very first swap. And she did one with book rings, and I just love it. I don't remember if she sent me this. She may have sent me a pack of these cards, and I attached it on here, and it shows the dates that I journaled in it. So anyway, I don't want to take too much time for each book, but I actually used the pages for journaling and included a piece of the packaging of something that she sent me, some embellishments that she sent me, and it's written in Dutch. So I put that on there as the pocket. And when there are cards tucked in places, as we all like to do tags and cards, a lot of times I write scripture verses on them. This one I stamped a scripture verse on. I think she paper clipped this onto it, and it's a piece of vellum. So I used Stays On ink and stamped a verse on it. So a lot of times I write whatever verse I was reading that day from whatever passage I was reading, and sometimes I'll write special things on it, like weather, if there was something unusual happening in the weather, a snowstorm or a thunderstorm or whatever, or just any special little thing I can write on those cards and tuck them back in their little pockets. Pages that you can't write on that have design, sometimes I just leave them because I like them. Sometimes I just glue images on. I had this little Mary Engelbreit desk calendar, which I love Mary Engelbreit, so I glued some of those images on there. This one has a couple of bookmarks that I glued on. So this one I glued a copy of a wedding photo. Was it around my anniversary? Yes, it was for my anniversary. So I just glued that and a picture of some flowers. So that's, and this one even has from my halos. That's one that Alette made me. This is one I got in a swap from Lori Jagadish, and she used the Bind It All, or the cinch for this. So again, I just used it as a journal and wrote things on the cards that are tucked in. And they're really fun to actually use because you get to, get up close and personal with all the details that are included in the book. So that's really nice. And this is probably one of the first ones that I made as a junk journal. Maybe one of the first, because I wrote in it in 2013. And I believe I showed this on a different video after it was used, because I remember showing where my husband and I got our passports and how the pictures were included. So the thing is with these books, usually I don't use them as long. This one I used from part of August till part of October. And the store-bought journals last longer and they take up less room. But these are so much prettier. And here's one that I had used, and I think I showed this one too, because I showed when we went to New York City. I used a photo envelope and actually put some photos and journaling cards inside. So I put some photos inside that. It's from a DVD. And there's some stuff in here. I think there's Halloween pictures inside here or something like that. And then I did this little book. I purchased this cover on clearance. So this made a little tiny journal. And it's pretty straightforward. It had a lot of room for writing, but not very many pages. So that didn't take long to use up. This was made with the Ladies' Diary collection from Graphic 45, and I included 2 postcards that look like they belong in this Graphic 45 collection. I bought them at an antique store. I didn't want to write on them or glue them or anything, so I just tucked them into this front pocket just so I have them safe and sound. And pages that I didn't want to write on, I got images off the internet or something and glued them down. And this one is made from an old book that I used to have when I was a kid. I did not have my original book, but I found this for $1 or 50 cents somewhere, and I remember loving this book. So I bought the book and took it apart and then put papers in it. And I didn't use this as a journal, but it's just for taking notes. I just have it on my craft table here, and I just use it when I need to jot things down. And when I use up all the pages in this, I can take it apart and put new pages in and just keep using that cover. And then this one I use for keeping track of swaps. So I write down, I shouldn't show addresses here, I guess. I write down the swap and the details of the swap, and then who my partner is, and then I take a picture of the book that I sent and the book that I received. There's the book that I sent, and there's the book I received, which I just showed you. And this one I used when I was studying 1 Peter from the Bible, and I just took notes all throughout it. And in fact, 2 Peter too, I guess. It's got 1 and 2 Peter. So cards, of course, have scripture on them, and just all my notes from that study. And I'm going to reread this and get some more, just refresh my memory on that Bible study. So that's what I did with the spiral bound, well, not spiral, but circle bound, ring bound books. But here's another one that I made from a big old binder that I bought at a thrift store. This came with the original binder. And this book is fat, so this took me 6 months, a little over 6 months to use. And I enjoyed it, but because it was difficult to write in because it's so big and bulky, but I could take them out. It's just got rings. And I love the way these rings are because the pages lay flat. So I was able to just take the pages out as I wrote on them. And these envelopes came with the binder also. And so they contain cards and photos. It's made from a file folder. Put an envelope here. I was going to write a recipe here for white chocolate cheesecake, which I didn't do, so I better do that. Something that my husband really liked. He loved cheesecake, and I used to like to try to make a variety of cheesecakes. He had his favorites that I made, but then I would always try something new, and he liked that. I don't eat cheesecake, so I won't be making cheesecakes anymore. But I still want to include that recipe in there because it's something I did for him and I liked doing it for him. This one is a little booklet that I made out of a Tim Holtz reinforcement package. I just put papers in there, so I journaled on that. So you get the idea here. So that's that, and then I'll do another video showing books that were the sewn-in binding.